So I've got a quick little intro just to show you what the build is going to be based around, and it's all going to be based around Wavesplitter, Mantle of Battle Harmony and a Void subclass, and this gun can put out some serious damage. Trust me on this one, it's going to be like a knife going through butter. It's going to be a Void knife. It is really strong with this setup. So what the Wavesplitter does, laser damage has 3 power levels that oscillate while the trigger is held down. Also, we've got this one here, supercharged battery, collecting an orb of power, grants a period of maximum power that starts with an automatic reload. Sustained fire in this mode also suppresses targets. That's a new feature Bungie added to the gun not so long back. Recently it also had a 40% buff to red bars also, so it makes this already into a melting machine. Absolute unit it is, it's absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to show you a little setup how we can get the absolute most out of it, including being able to get the supercharged battery going all of the time. It's going to have this on it here. We're going to have a Void Siphon, so rapid Void weapon final blows create an orb of power, so we're always going to have our supercharged battery up. And what I've done is I've stuck on radiant orbs also, so picking up the orb is also going to make us radiant, which is a universal buff of 25%. We have got also Mantle of Battle Harmony, so how this works is when you've got your super, you do an extra damage bonus with the weapon that matches your subclass per kill, and you're going to see that on the left hand side of the screen called absorption cells. So you get a nice extra 20% damage buff as well, which is also stacking with radiant, and it also stacks with font of might, and it also stacks with the supercharged battery as well. And then what the problem is with these sort of weapons is the special ammo. You seem to run out of special ammo quite a bit, but we've managed to fix that with this build. How we're doing that is every time we're going to pick up an orb or an elemental well via elemental armaments and elemental ordnance, I'm also running elemental charge, so every time we pick up one of them wells it's going to make us charge light times 2. And I'm running this mod here, extra reserves. While you're charged with light, defeating combatants with void damage grants a chance to drop special ammo. This effect consumes all stacks, so basically we're going to become charged with light all the time with ordnance and elemental armaments and elemental charge. So basically just from one orb we're going to be able to create infinite amounts of special ammo. We're going to get a radiant buff, and we're also going to be proccing our supercharged battery all of the time. And then just before I get into the clips, I just want to show you talk about the suppress part. So not only is it going to reload when we pick up an orb, but every time we suppress something it's going to reload our gun also. With this perk, this fragment, Echo of Domineering, after suppressing a target you gain increased mobility, and your gun is also reloaded from reserves. Check the clips, see if we see it all working together. And as you can already see, I've got loads of stuff going on that left hand side. As special what I was talking about, that's the extra reserves working, and look at this, it's just absolutely chewing through these enemies. I'm hardly holding the trigger down at all, it feels like I'm just tapping and these enemies are just instantly disappearing. It's absolutely insane. This is just a normal lost sector. I've got some more clips of other activities, but this is just to come in and show you how sort of fast it's destroying these sort of enemies here. And obviously again on that left hand side you're going to see lots of buffs going on. I've got Radiant, I've also got Devour, I'm running Child of the Old Gods as well, the Warlock Draining Rift, so it's really a good build. Everything sort of synergizes perfectly together. And then what I've done, just to buff the damage out a little bit, you might notice in this clip here I've got a Void rocket launcher on as well, which has got a lasting impression. So as I'm firing that lasting impression off like so, what you'll see in a moment, I'm also going to switch back to my Wavesplitter, so it's not bad for sustained damage as well. That's where I sort of felt it lacked a little bit in the build. The ad clearing capabilities up to sort of yellow bars, it was just insane. And then for like the yellow bars or champs and things like that, you could put a void lasting impression rocket launcher if you've got one, or anything else. But this is just some gameplay of the dungeon now, just to show you that it's just as good in there. I mean, it's just destroying these enemies. Like, when you do Wavesplitting, sometimes these sort of are a bit of a pest. They sometimes take a long time to kill, or a bit longer with certain weapons, but Wavesplitter just absolutely melts them. Like I said, it just actually felt like it was a knife going through butter with a build. I'm creating special ammo everywhere, and I've also got my Nova Bomb if I need to, but obviously with Mantle of Battle Harmony you want to be trying to keep that as long as possible. I'll go more into the build at the end, but it's just destroying these enemies in this dungeon like very, very easily. And like I said, you've got everything going on. You've got all your special whenever you want, basically, and huge damage buffs going everywhere. I'll break the sort of numbers down at the end of the vid, or in the description probably as well. I'll write them down so we can just sort of see the damage buffs going on. But anyway, I'll leave some more clips playing out. I'm going to the full build at the end of the video. Another little thing just to add on before I get into the full build, it's overload trace rifles this season. So obviously it's really good against overload champions, but it's also really good against anything. It disrupts anything, so certain enemy types, it'll disrupt them from doing their special attacks. I'll leave Esoteric's excellent video that he did on it, I'll leave that in the description. Anyway, here's the full build. Right, so this is now the full setup. I run on my class item, I'm running elemental armaments and radiant orbs. As we talked over that briefly, picking up an orb, power makes you radiant, which is a 25% damage buff. That and elemental armaments. On my legs, I am running elemental ordnance. So they both create wells, one with a grenade, one with weapon. I'm also running on my chest piece Font of Might to get another 25% extra damage buff whenever I pick up one of them elemental wells. So whenever I pick up one of them elemental wells, I'm going to get a damage buff from Font of Might, and I'm also going to get ×2 charge light with elemental charge. The elemental charge is needed for the extra reserves, so void kills every so often with your trace rifle or anything void, even your grenade or your Nova Bomb, whatever, that's got a chance to drop special ammo. It's quite consistent, you don't really go too long without it sort of proccing if you like, but you're constantly getting special ammo, so that's a nifty little combo that we've got going on there. And then obviously the void siphon, that's what we're using to create the orbs, which I've already touched on briefly. Obviously the Wavesplitter we've got as our weapons. Your heavy, you can run something like Tomorrow's Answer with lasting impression, or any other lasting impression rocket launcher if you like, or anything sort of void to take advantage. Primary, anything you want. The aspects that I'm running is Child of the Old Gods and Feed the Void. So not only are we getting all that damage buff from Mantle of Battle Harmony and the Font of Might and everything like that, we're going to get Devour going on top of that as well. So we're going to be causing loads of damage and be constantly healing ourselves. Suppressor Grenade is what I run on this one. Pocket Singularity, Burst Glide, Healing Rift, any of them, whatever you want. The fragments are Echo of Undermining. My Void Grenades weaken targets. That also adds to everything else stated. All the other buffs that we're getting from the Wavesplitter. Echo of Persistence. Void buffs applied to you. Devour in particular have an increased duration. Echo of Domineering. After suppressing a target, you gain greatly increased mobility and your weapon is reloaded from reserve. So as we touched on, the Wavesplitter does suppress, and every so often that'll just reload itself when you proc that, and if not, your suppressor grenade is going to reload any weapon that you've got in your hand at the time anyway, because it suppresses them procs Echo of Domineering. Echo of Instability. So what that does, I just have to get rid of that off my screen, bloody annoying. That Echo of Instability is defeating targets with grenades, grants volatile rounds to your weapons. So if you've seen in the clips, I do get volatile rounds going quite a bit as long as I kill something with my grenade. Again, so it's everything sort of stacking nicely together. Volatile rounds, supercharged battery, font of might, mantle of battle harmony, infinite special, infinite damage. I hope you've enjoyed the build. Have a great night.